hopefully get awarded a grant. Grants are a competitive process, so we don't always get awarded, but in that particular case, we were successful in getting over $400,000 in funding.
And it's not only grants. Keith and Nate and I think on 2 different occasions over the last several years, because of the lack of bus service in the area, went over to CAT, Capital Area Transit, and basically petitioned on behalf of the township with the support of all of the commissioners to try to get some better bus service, and got nowhere. CAT was having some difficulties, but we got nowhere with it. Back around the end of last year, the beginning of this year, I was asked by the county commissioners if I would serve on the board of CAT. It was the last thing in the world I wanted to do. But I agreed to do it, and partly because I thought, if I'm on that board, at least I can make known what the needs are in this part of CAT's general territory. So I took on an assignment that I had initially no intention of taking on, but doing it because I thought it could help the people in this area. Every person on this board has a long history of serving the public. John's been on the board many years. Ken was our police chief for many years. My first assignment with the township was on the zoning hearing board. I was filling out an unexpired term for 3 years. They came to me and said, would you like to be reappointed to that or maybe go on the planning commission? And I said, well, the planning commission sounds more interesting. I'd really like to continue serving. That sounds great. And they told me something. I went home that night. I said, by the way, to my wife, I said, by the way, I just took a cut in pay. She said, what are you talking about? I said, well, under the law, the zoning hearing board, they have to provide a stipend. So every time there was a meeting, we got $25. On the planning commission, I get 0. So I took a big cut in pay. But we've all served. Nate serves in the legislature. He's a tremendous asset to us because of what he can bring to us in terms of what's going on there. So hopefully we have a better idea of what we can do and how we might be able to influence legislators to do the things that we need.
But in terms of Delbrook, like you brought up, be happy to write that to us. So that's the first I've tuned into that. You know, I mean, I certainly drive the road, but I didn't notice, you know, in terms of the line meeting. So I'll be happy to.
Well, I mean, it's the first thing. I mean, I think everybody I know, and a lot of my friends, you know, my daughter attended Sporting Hill. People who go right down that road, and we're like, so, you know, we kept after the work was done, we're like, when are they going to pave it? When are they going to pave it? And then it was when it was half paved. It was like, oh, that's not good. But then when they only painted, I mean, if you drive down, you will see there's like a 1-foot section that they paved, okay? They just painted that 1-foot section of the white line. They didn't go down and paint, it's ridiculous.
If we can indeed write to the, you know, write to our legislators on that subject,
Absolutely. What I would ask of any member of the public is that your staff, the township staff, are responsive to requests and comments and complaints. Sometimes we see things and address them ourselves, and oftentimes, given the size of the township and the number of residential and commercial properties, information comes to us from residents such as yourself, and every time we get a request like that or a concern, we go out into the field and we inspect it. If there's an issue or a violation of any of our ordinances, or a pothole, or a problem with the street light, or any number of things, we'll get the matters resolved. So I'm sorry that I didn't personally notice that the stop bar going into your development wasn't repainted, but by all means, pick up the phone or send me an email and we'll respond.
we'll certainly act on it.
And while I don't mean this to be something where I'm trying to hide anything, but your commissioners have full-time, professionally trained staff who will address small concerns within the guidelines of their approved policies on a day-in and day-out basis. Sometimes your elected officials may not be able to respond as quickly as the staff. Certainly if there's complaints about staff or concerns about public policy, reach out to the residents or the commissioners. But on a day-to-day basis, if it's a pothole, I personally would prefer to be contacted about it so that staff can get out into the field sooner than later to fix the issue. So
And that contact thing where you have all the different subject matter.
Yes,
you know what I
ma'am.
mean? That's really good. I think like what, dog license, that's a really good thing. Put that on the front page.
It is.
It's not, when I have to click on the home menu
David,
to go
isn't
down.
it on the front page? Citizen request, it's in the middle of the page. There's a direct link to that.
Okay, well
So
then-
we have it up on the top toolbar. I'm not
Okay,
just,
well, to me, okay, so then maybe that's the problem, because there's a contact us thing, and then when you go to that, I guess maybe the same thing
If-
comes
if
up.
you
If
go,
you scroll down under the photo, you'll see there's 4 quick links in the middle of the screen. That's one.
Right, I'm looking
It's
at it
what
right
it's
here.
called citizen request, not contact us.
correct, you're requesting us to respond to a street light that's out, a pothole, a stop sign that's knocked over, or whatever the case may be. That's,
the
that's,
language that's confusing.
Yeah.
To me, a citizen request would, I guess, I would have.
Is this something Scott does?
our website layout was initially configured by the firm that was retained. The data that's in there and the text that's in there is populated by staff.
All different staff?
Yeah.
Okay, I can just say, you can, okay, you didn't know how to reach me, but it might be not a bad idea when somebody has a suggestion to either contact one of the commissioners or Keith Matz or somebody else at the township and just send a note saying, I have an idea. And those kinds of things happen all the time. People
So there
say,
is another section or whatever, like that's not,
Correct.
I mean, you have a multitude of choices, but to me, like, citizen request, I just.
well, Kathleen has some good ideas,
To
and
me, because most websites say contact us, and you do, under the contact us, when you click on the drop down menu, that comes up too, so it's just the language thing that confused me.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
I'd like to suggest we take about a 5-minute break. And unless there's anything really urgent, we've been trying to accommodate every question. But I'm gonna take a 5-minute break so that, and then we'll be back and we still have a major issue tonight.
let's get the budget going.
Just for informational sake for the community, while the advertisement for the budget workshop included a second date, that will only be held tomorrow night if it's needed. If I'm able to work through the commissioner's questions relative to the budget tonight, that meeting will be canceled, so I'd hate for you to show up at 5 o'clock. If it is canceled for tomorrow night, that'll be posted on our website and available under the Board of Commissioners meeting schedule, as well as removed from our web calendar. Have you passed your school district budget?
Did you do your budget?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's what we're used to.
Terry, you've been quiet.
Oh my goodness.
We had a pre-budget.
No, we'll have you on that side now. So I'm gonna come with a clear walkway now. So sorry. Yeah.
You're gonna look this way out.
Yeah, so you're gonna be right in the whole conversation. And if you do your best to stay put in that general vicinity, and just don't reply anywhere. First question. I understand.
Kathy has powder.
Yeah, I think I have creamer in my office.
we've seen the sewer houses.
No, but I mean, we've been
That's what we have to do every day. And then they talk that then, community. I'm pissed off at the community. And now you have a problem with them. I keep wanting to say mine. Sorry? Jamaica. Jamaica.
Can I say Jamaica?
No.
Jamaica. Can
No.
you spell it for me?
Yes.
J-U-M-O-A-E.
Do you like your name? Jamaica. Like, right, start thinking of it like J-E-W, Jew, like a Jew. The law. So, what are we talking about here? Okay, Hampden.
Crazy.
No, that is a consent word. Passionate, you're talking too much, you have great points, and you don't want to hear it. So when you say passionate, I will shut you down. It's not relevant, I don't want to hear it. What is what do you know you're passionate? That's going to sound like what I care with you. Address like what I'm talking about. Why do you have to describe? It's just,
right here.
oh, you dropped it in the green sheet. Yeah. Did you get to the Hungary Valley with somebody? You should come.
I know, I want to. I want to.
But you're part of the community.
I know.
Why do people like you?
I actually should have come. I should have brought more with my daughter. She, I mean, her father is, yeah, but she doesn't. Well, do you know what I mean? Like, more white. Yeah, more white. And my husband, like, sometimes it's very,
And who may live in the township, and they may think that they should have a racist man at the board. What message do you have for them tonight? There's a lot of concern online.
I have to listen to it.
You've been quiet tonight.
What do you do with the legislature? I understand you're like a liaison?
I work for State Senator Mike Regan. I'm the Executive Director of the Veterans Affairs Emergency Preparedness Committee.
Oh,
for
okay.
him.
Carry your cards.
Oh, they're still up here. You're the first one that,
He said it right again.
by all means, there's fucking township emails on there. Don't know if you need to speak. How you doing? Thanks. Randall. Nice to meet you.
You know something that I know.
One of your cards?
Yeah, by all means. How you doing?
Is this the?
Yeah, absolutely. From there, it's,
And self-confidence.
These are my old ones. My new ones do have, and I thought these would have been the new ones. That's another card. They do have the email on, so these are my. Yeah, so I do have an Hampden Township email, pencil copy. So, sorry.
Everybody's contacts, but I don't think we just.
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it.
Look, I'm not being.
I understand.
It's just like. It's one of the contact.
I just tried to contact one of my colleagues in Susquehanna Township, and I had to go to their contact, so I get
Yeah, it should be, it's
I had no issue with that, but yes, that's, so
no, I didn't.
that is my personal email on there, but I do have a Hampden Township, and it has been updated on my new card, so unfortunately, that's my old.
Okay, it's basically everybody's first initial, their last name at hamptontownship.us.
Yeah, for the most part.
And so.
And my cell phone.
No, I mean, I know, but I just think that we should have these types of discussions, like have a special forum just for that. And because it seems like it.
And we did have a meeting last week, breakfast, was called the breakfast with the business community, but it's certainly open to the community.
But it says business, so I would automatically exclude myself.
If we have 3 days business and community, I'm fine with doing that. But we held that, that was another one that was held, in the morning, so.
I saw that, and the thing is, I have, night language, so I don't drive at night, so I walked up here and ran Henderson to me ride home, which is a neighbor, and so it's
I'm Keith Messer, Council Manager. Nice to meet you. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, sure. Thank you, Kathy. Oh, okay. So we're
I work for the Center
Oh, now you were
the executive director of the Senate, that's the fair diversity. So that's why, from time to time, we have oversight. Senator Randy Bluff, we chair that committee, so.
You know where, Wegmans shopping center, okay, so that's right about where Silver Spring is. And as you continue on out to Carlisle Spring towards the high school, that's still Silver Spring Township. I mean, I know the management there, so I can base on the work. Okay, sure.
You're not saying that you guys are taking credit here for my dog's on leash here. I heard that tonight. My wife not gonna be happy with that.
Yep. Right. Okay. Right. You'll have these guys talking to you. Correct. As you're going to Mechanicsburg or towards Wards Mill Road?
Okay, we're doing public record for the dog.
81? Okay. Yep, yep.
So Cassie's here, she's in that's her. And that's a big junction.
Yeah.
She's going back, she's going back. I don't know how to come. Young driver. It's a free, it's train, you go that way. I have 3 drivers, 3 young drivers, we have children. It's on the inside.
Sure.
That's the inside, the inside is across the lane.
It's all in the election.
It's not right.
So, just speaking from a technical and responsible reality, traffic signals, whether they're on state roads or township roads, are the responsibility of the individual municipality. So in Hampden Township, any traffic signals that you see, we're responsible for maintaining. And what you're talking to about the line striping, that's of course part of the permit for that signal, which PennDOT dictates. So, well, PennDOT makes the design of the traffic signal intersection, but the municipality, once completed and constructed, is responsible for maintenance. So striping in Silver Spring Township, as you're describing, assuming it was required in the permit, they would be responsible for restriping the intersection. And what we do on a typical basis is we have an inventory of all of our signalized intersections, and then we take a subset of them, and about every 5 years, restripe them, restripe the crosswalks, restripe the stop bars, restripe the turning lanes, and all of those things. So I'll talk to the Silver Spring Township manager and convey your concerns. Right. Understand. Pleasure meeting you.
Yes, by the way. Thank you.
You know where John is?
Nice meeting you.
Oh, wait a minute, you have to write your name down, because I'm like already forgot how to pronounce it.
Now it's.
It's Dave's final.
Okay, so put that looks like an accent, if that's okay.
Yes. I don't think it's multiple times. It makes no difference.
Did you say it's to go or not?
No, I can break that.
And I have a whole nice thing to teach you. March court. You know, I don't know if you heard of it, but
I'll remember for you, John. And then for you,
I didn't want to.
Hey, I want to
where did something you are so good at this? Like this is like that you get this thing. How did you learn to do this? Like this
Because I'm the people person that is not staring at you.
Okay, are we ready? Okay. Call the meeting back to order.
Dave, can you make note of the recess? Yes. Okay.
You started,
All right.
it seemed like about 4 hours ago.
And Commissioners, again, as I was indicating earlier, this is the 9th time that I've had the opportunity to work with you and present staff, my department heads, and my recommendations for your consideration. I won't be asking for any action from you this evening. Again, the action to adopt a tentative budget is expected to occur if you choose to do so at your October 30th meeting. So just to summarize, and to the extent that you have any questions as I look at the budget from a big picture, talking about a proposed $82 million budget, so don't plan to get into individual line item expenditures. Much of your budget, of course, are reoccurring costs, personnel costs, insurances, consumables, utilities, and things like that. So really what you get into is what in the way of capital improvement projects are you considering for the next budget year. So as I provide my narrative and recommendations, don't hesitate to stop me and ask any questions that you wish. Overall, though, I'm looking for it to be a conservative approach to revenue projections, so that if for some reason your revenues take a hit because of the economy or something to that effect, you're protected by not overestimating your revenues, but realistically projecting revenues. I should add that department heads were instructed to justify expenditures with realistic projections, and I want to recognize Dave's efforts in development of the budget, and most importantly, Terry's, as she was involved in all of the meetings with the department heads. Major capital improvement items, if approved in your budget, will be discussed and considered throughout the 2020 year. And by what I mean there is